Hey guys, Jim here. We're going to explore something a little bit different, something that we typically don't see on my channel. For those of you that don't know, I typically focus on high-end mid-techs and custom knives. Don't do a lot with production knives anymore. If you go back in my channel a couple of years ago, sure. But I really don't do it that much anymore because my tastes have really evolved. I want something that's a little bit special. I want something that's different. I want something that's got some handwork into it. I'm always striving for the perfect detent, the perfect blade steel, the perfect action. So a lot of times that's going to put you into mid-tech and custom knives. Today we're going to get into something that it kind of blurs the lines a little bit. This is Reate Knives, and with Reate, you're getting a production knife that you could really sort of put into the mid-tech category. I think it's pretty safe to put it into that mid-tech category, but you almost get a high-end mid-tech feel out of it. I don't want to try and compare these to a custom knife because I really don't feel that it's there, but you're so close. It's ridiculous. I'm interested to see what happens in the next few years to see how that progresses upwards. Before I get going too far, I want to apologize for how I sound. I'm coming off of a really bad cold that's been hanging on for about 9 days, and I can't seem to shake it, but I need to get a few videos done because I'm running out of time with the holidays coming. Everything kind of gets hectic when you got a family, so let's try and get this bad boy knocked out. So first off, this is the packaging you'll receive. You'll get it in a big white outer cardboard box. Open that up and you get a really nice zippered case. Get this opened up, and here she is. Now, first off, mine is a one-off, so you're not going to receive a knife that looks just like this. It's going to be standard gray titanium, and that's it, pretty much. Everything else that's been done on this has been customized and tweaked. David was kind enough to make me a one-off variation. What we're looking at here is a frame lock flipper, open design with standoffs, nice full-size knife. You're looking at 3 3/4 inch blade, S35 VN. If you get the Horizon A, the upgrade is you'll get an M390 blade, and it's just a slightly different handle, and from the pictures I've seen, no exposed hardware. This is the Horizon B. I gotta tell you, S35 VN is still a fantastic steel. It's an awesome steel. There's not really a lot to complain about. It obviously will not hold an edge as long as the M390, but for those that aren't really hard using their knife, it's probably not going to be the biggest deal in the world. The overall length on this is actually kind of surprising. 8 3/4 inches. It's a fairly big size knife for what it is. Now, on that blade, by the way, on the S35 VN, they're achieving 59 to 60 Rockwell hardness. So you are going to get a really hard blade on there. You're going to get a lot of good use out of it. David puts a hell of an edge on this knife. I was really surprised to see just how sharp it was. Let's give you some size comparisons here against my favorite 3 3/4 inch blade. You guys know that my Frank Fisher Battle One-Off is my #1 favorite knife in my entire collection. So as you see, dimensionally it's almost identical. Obviously the Fisher is going to be a lot thicker. So this is actually going to be a nice, slim, easy to carry knife. Put it up against another favorite of mine, the Dustin Turpin and Tashi collaboration, the Flash. It's got a thicker, beefier handle to it. It doesn't taper off like the Flash does. But you've still got dimensionally pretty much the same knife. And you'll be surprised, it's pretty much the same action. And of course, against Old Big Red, Todd Begg Bodega, almost identical in its overall size. Now, to put it up against a more comparable knife as far as how it's produced, and almost in the price range. Here it is against the Strife by Jason Browse on the Dustin Turpin design. Again, very similar, and it's going to be a very similar feel in the hand. While the Strife is a lot thicker and chunkier, you still got the same basic profile in the height of the handles. And again, very similar on the actions. And that's really where this knife comes into its fame. You've heard a lot of people talking about these on Instagram, on the forums, on Facebook. It's because of this. The action is out of this world. He's using a cage bearing system, handset detent that is absolutely perfect in every way. Not too light, not too strong, and I can flip this any way I want to. If I want to light switch it, which is my preferred method, it rockets out. If I want to preload it a little bit and do a little bit of a push button, it's even faster. Just fantastic all the way around. Let's give you some nice close-up detail on it. Now, all of the Horizons will get this 3D milling throughout the titanium handles. It's all 6AL4V titanium, nicely contoured and radiused. See, it's got a really nice shape to it. It's not just a slab-sided piece. What he's done for me is done this really funky green anodize and the blue through it on the top portion. Kind of looks like lightning bolts. A friend of mine gave it a different designation. Basically said it looks like the vein in his privates. I won't take that any further. I actually really dig this design. I think it's really, really cool. And when David and I talked about him building me this knife, I said, you know what? I said, you know how I am. I like things that are different, things that are special, kind of a one-off. Just do whatever you feel like doing. However you want to anodize it, whatever you want to do, just have fun with it. And I didn't know anything about it until he emailed me the pictures as he was boxing it up to ship it out. And I was really, really surprised. I like the fact that you do have a lanyard opening here. I do like using lanyards from time to time on certain knives. On this one, because of the shape of the knife and the way it deploys from the pocket, I really won't need to do that. And a lot of that has to do with the way he shapes his pocket clips. By putting this cutout in there, when you go to grab it, your finger, notice the meat of my finger dropping into that clip right there, and it grabs on that little edge. So it's very easy to deploy from the pocket. No issues whatsoever. I don't need a lanyard to help me pop it out of there. You might be wondering about the clip. This is really, really cool because this was a big surprise that David left for me. And he wouldn't tell me what it was until just yesterday. I assumed when I saw the pictures that it was Timascus or Mokutai. When I got the knife, I assumed it was Timascus or Mokutai. Even the feel of it, there's actual etching in it. This is just 6AL4V titanium. How cool is that? He's basically done his own handmade imitation of a Timascus or Mokutai material. Great anodizing on there. I mean, it looks real as shit. That's all I can say. I like the way that he's done the cutout for the lock bar there. It's a little bit different, not just a straight old cutout. He is using a steel lock bar insert. Very smart. We're seeing a lot of high-end custom makers do this. And we're also seeing some higher-end production knives doing this as well. But I like that he's got the forethought to do that. Very large pivot on there. Some people may like it, some people may not. I like it being anodized in the blue. Really pops. It's a nice clean look on both sides. Clearly marked S35VN on the stonewash blade. Drop point style blade, hollow ground. Really nice hollow grind on there as well. And just the Reate logo here on this side. So you've got a nice clean blade. It's not junked up with just a lot of shit stamped all over it. Nice prominent top swedge on there. Great clean stone wash finish throughout. It's got a slight recurve to the blade. Got a nice bit of belly right up here. This is going to be a really good, useful EDC knife. It's going to cut, it's going to slice, it's going to chop, it's going to do anything that you need it to do. The ergonomics, I feel, are fantastic for my hand. It's a nice, big-sized knife, but it's not overly chunky, it's not overdone. It also helps keep it a bit lightweight by having the slimmer titanium on there. The jimping, I mean, it's there, but it's not really overly effective. It could be a little bit sharper. And I don't even want to say sharper. I should just say the jimping could be a little bit deeper, because I really don't want sharp jimping tearing up my fingers. I have enough of that going on. But a little bit deeper to let the meat of your thumb drop into it to keep it, you know, your thumb from sliding around. That would be really nice. But it's not that big of a deal. The flipper tab is angled nicely. It's big enough to be a finger guard. So it's going to prevent your fingers from slipping up if you were stabbing into something hard, maybe fleshy. I don't know. I don't know what you're into. Great balance, nice feel. Here's the thing. Here's why people have been going so apeshit over this knife. Without the customizing that's been done here, you're looking at a $200 knife. Now you're going to pay a little bit more for the Horizon A because you're going to have to pay more for the much more expensive M390 steel. And right now, I just saw Blade HQ had these up for $189, so even under $200. Now, $200, that puts you in the range of some pretty decent factory production knives. That's your Spyderco's, Cold Steel, Benchmade, the higher-end Kershaw ZTs, that range. So how does it compare to those? In my opinion, I would rather have this. Number one, lower production. Not everybody's going to have one. Number two, David Dang himself, the owner of Reate, does all of the setting of the locks, setting of the detent, and grinding, sharpening all of the blades. So by that definition, you're getting a Midtech knife. You are able to option it almost however you want. If you email David and said, hey, I just heard about this Horizon, I'd really like to get one, or maybe a District 9 or the Hills, one of the other models. I want to get one, but I really would like to have this color here and that color here, and maybe this material for a pocket clip. And they do also, by the way, they will work in other steels, so it might be possible to get maybe like an S90V steel blade, something like that. You can do that. You can't call up Cold Steel or Benchmade or whomever and say, hey, I really like your knife. I'd like to change this, alter this, add this, take away this, do this and do that. They're going to go, sorry, that's the way it comes. And that's really what's separating production knives from Midtechs. And that's why I really have to put this in the Midtech category. Plus also, the owner himself is doing the handwork on these. So you're getting all the CNC work, which, by the way, is also, I believe, I don't know if it's all done by David, but I know he does do it because he was actually a mechanical designer and obviously works with CNC. But it was his love of knives and knife collecting and the community that got him into making knives. So it's kind of nice to see somebody evolving in that way and doing something that they really, really enjoy. You've got a knife that's just about a little bit under 6.5 ounces. So it puts it in the range of the Turpin Strife and lighter than the other three that I had out here. So it's going to be a very pocket-friendly knife for its size. Again, if you only like carrying 3-inch knives, I'm not trying to talk you into something bigger by saying it's pocket-friendly. If you know you can carry a 3 3/4 inch blade, a knife that's 8 3/4 inches overall, then you're going to love this. It's going to be lighter weight than many of those other knives in that size range and slim enough to be comfortable to carry, but not so slim that it feels delicate. I've got some really great slim knives, my Brian Ty knives, all of my Norsemans from John Grimsmo. But the first thing people say when they pick them up, because they're so slim, they go, oh, it almost feels fragile. Now, while those are not fragile, I understand that feeling. This has a feeling of substance. You know you've got a quality knife in your hand. I mean, look at this. I don't have to give it a really hard shake to get it to fall under its own weight. And it's not just slamming closed. It gets to a certain point and then it just gently closes. This is something that you would absolutely want to see in a custom knife or a high-end Midtech. And we've all been there. If you're buying in the same level, we've all received knives that didn't have an action that we expected and that didn't have an action as smooth, fast, or as nice for $800, $900, $1,000, $1,500. I know I've certainly been there several times, and I've documented that here on my channel. This has the performance of a Midtech to custom knife. It has the feel of a high-end production or a really solid Midtech that you would spend $400 to $500 on. So why not spend $200? I mean, it's insane. And maybe you've got a little bit of a quandary going on. You're getting really, really hardcore into your collecting. You're buying more and more expensive knives, and you find yourself afraid to use them. You're thinking, well, I've got over $400 invested in this knife. I love it. I bought it to use it, but with that much money invested in it, I really don't want to fuck it up. Or I've got $1,200, $1,300 invested in my new baby here. Oh, geez, I definitely don't want to mark that up. There are plenty of people that feel like that. So you can get into a knife that has the action, the feel, and the quality materials that you would expect for a knife 3 to 5 times its price. And at that point, you're not afraid to use it and abuse it and do what needs to be done with it. And unless you're doing a one-off like this, oh my God, use the fuck out of it, destroy it. You can always replace it easily, buy another one. They're going to be readily available. You can't beat that. One of the things I forgot to mention right up here, he's done a nice job of jimping on the front face of the flipper and on the top of the flipper tab as well. So no matter how you engage it, you've got a nice solid purchase on it. Oh, I love that. Let's see if we can get a nice, see if we can actually hear that detent. Come on, stay open. It's so smooth it just wants to close. See if we can hear it as it gets sucked in. Oh yeah, that's solid. That is really solid. From the day I got it, which was, I think it was the day before Halloween, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks ago, I've been carrying the hell out of it. There are times that I'll wake up in the morning, I'll go through my knives to see what I want to carry that day, and I always have this issue. It's 3, 4, 5 that I'm going to go through, and I really got to decide between. And I'm surprised at how many times this has beat out a knife that I've paid, $1,500, $2,000 for. I'm not saying it's better than a $2,000 handmade custom. Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying that it's such a good feel, such a good all-around knife, such incredible action that I don't feel that I'm lacking if this is what's in my pocket all day. If I were to meet somebody on the street, we have a conversation, find out they're a knife collector, and they ask what's in my pocket, I wouldn't be embarrassed to pull this out. Because when somebody picks this up and flips that open, and they feel the quality all the way around, they're going to naturally assume it's a lot more expensive than it really is. And I'm proud of being able to save money whenever I can, It's not always about spending the most amount of money. Good God, no. So again, nice clean design all the way around. There are your standoffs. Nice clean look. Great work on the milling. As you notice, all of the anodizing that was done here is perfectly even. There's no splotchiness. There's no areas that are kind of faded out and other areas that are brighter. He did a fantastic job all the way around. A little bit of jimping here on the back section of the frame. It is actually a little bit more effective than the jimping up here for whatever reason. It just feels a little tiny bit more aggressive. You'll notice the chamfered edge all the way around the frames. Everything was softened out nicely. Nice cutaways here, giving you access to your frame lock. No sharp edges in here. And you know what? That is kind of a big deal to me. My thumb is torn the hell up from a few custom knives that I have, and we're talking well over $1,000, that have a sharp edge right there where the maker knows that you have to engage and you have to apply pressure. Yet for some reason, they still left a sharp edge in there. So it's nice to see somebody taking the time, putting the effort in, and thinking about all of the little things that a person that's actually carrying their knife is going to want to see. So there you have it, guys. If you've been curious about these, you've been hearing about them, you've been seeing them pop up on websites, excuse me, I'm going to tell you right now, you are not taking a risk when you're spending $200 on this knife. Not at all. I don't think that there's ever going to be a huge secondary market for them because he's able to keep producing them. So there's not going to be a shortage of the supply to meet the demand. But let's say there were. And 2 years from now, they're not available anywhere. You can't get them. Everybody wants one. And somebody's selling it for $400, $450. And that puts you in the range of some really good Midtechs. I'd still say you've got a great knife. It's made in China. A lot of people have an issue with that. Who gives a shit? The majority of the things in your home are made in China. more than half the things that say made in the USA are still going to have Chinese components in there. Listen, we all want to support the U.S. economy. I know I certainly do. I do it with almost everything that I buy. Whenever possible, I buy American. But there's nothing wrong with buying a Chinese product as long as the quality is there. The biggest problem we've seen from China is inconsistency, whether it's in cheap watches or it's in knives or in anything else. It's a consistency of quality issue. And with David controlling all of the quality for every knife that comes out of his shop or his factory, I don't think you really have that concern. I've not heard of anybody yet that was disappointed with any of their Reate knives, no matter what the model was. And the District 9 was the first one that I had seen. But once I saw the Horizon, there was something about having that in my collection that was really pulling at me. So David, thank you so much for making a special variation for me. It really, really does mean a lot to me. I very much appreciate that. To everybody out there watching that's been on the fence, I say get off the fence. A fence post up your ass hurts, and you just need to make the decision and do it and grab one. Listen, are you going to lose money? Probably not. If you don't like it for whatever reason, pretty sure you can sell a knife for $200. Not that difficult. All right, guys, I'm out of here for now. I'm going to try and get some more videos up on the way. If you want to grab one of these, you can hit up reateknives.com, R-E-A-T-E. You can go to Reate Knives on Instagram. You can chat with David there, ask him some questions. He's a wonderfully nice guy. Remember, English is not his first language, but he does a really good job getting around that hurdle. So anyway, I'm out of here for now. See you guys on the next video.